It's the weekend. Oh, yeah. Yeah, the weekend's got a little bit of a Thursday and Friday night feel to it because I am here with my good friend, the man himself, Scotty Lopez. How you doing, Scott?
I'm doing absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. Some people in the chat room. Some people in the chat room are thinking that the elusive one, the missing one, Joe Joseph, may have been in the building because they say it's his music. Oh, no. This is Scott's music. That's Scott's anthem that plays us in at the weekend. But no, I've still not found him. Still haven't found Joe. He has, I thought he might be hiding under my desk or something. I really want to start a good LARP. Like, we could, like, say he's doing anything, man. We could say, like, Joe's anywhere. He's faceless, he's nameless. We can make it up as we go along. So, we might tell you where we think Joe is towards the end of the show. Maybe, if we're, like, feeling really generous and my imagination really sparks into overtime. But, Scott, we've got new graphics up above your head. You liking my wee spinning globe thing going on there, man?
You are getting quite proficient at the After Effects, Mr. Baker.
Isn't he just? I'm saying isn't he because Dave is on the stream tonight. Oh boy. Oh boy. It's the weekend. Dave comes out at the weekend, Scott.
Excellent.
Yes, where we go. Nobody knows. But you were telling me, lucky you're even here today. Dodgy weather with you, is it?
Yeah, we kind of dodged a bullet today. Like, it was softball size hail that just went really, really close to where we live. But luckily we didn't get it. But it was like, if we would have got it, it would have been like really, really bad. Would have like destroyed our roof and stuff like that. So,
and I mean, for people who don't know, you like
weather situation.
You live in the crosshairs, don't you? Because you're in Tornado Alley. Ish, right? You right in it?
That's how quick things escalate in this area, you know, when it comes to the weather. So it's like, ooh.
You see, man, my favorite adrenaline holiday, if I can even call it that, but I'd love to go storm chasing, right? Adrenaline bucket list activity to me, day-to-day life for Scott Lopez. It kind of like, you know what I'm saying, Scott? It makes me feel a little bit kind of bad about wanting to come over there and enjoy some of that mayhem, man.
As long as it stays in the field, it's all good. And there's plenty of fields. So it's Kansas, but you don't want any of that.
Well, Scott, I've got a secret message coming in from Mr. Polynation. Polynation assures me that Sean Connery has put a hit out on Joe for bad impressions. I guess it worked. Yes, maybe it did. Maybe we'll try and summon Joe. Is there anybody there? Will we try and summon him onto the stream in a little bit, Scott? That could be fun.
You know what? You know who could probably summon Joe? Johnny King.
Oh, Johnny King, absolutely, man. We actually know, like, if you could have a qualified Merlin in your ranks, when the brown stuff hits the fan, folks, I hope you know that we have actually got our own sorcerer on call. Yes. It might get a bit wily out there. It's going to get sketchy, but when you've got your own sorcerer, not many people can really make that claim, you know?
Who could say that they actually know a wizard? You know? Like,
wizard that is so algorithm unfriendly. Where he finds his memes. I mean, dang, dude. There's memes, there's dank memes. And then there's the wizard's memes.
Yes, some of the things that I have received in my messenger from Mr. King.
Unshowable. Absolutely just unshowable, Scott. Aren't they? I don't even need to know. I know they are. I see the same things and you can't unsee them. It's like any other meme. They're really effective at what they do. They sear an image into your mind. It's like one of his sigils. He doesn't deal in memes. He deals in sigils. That's what he's throwing about on there, man. You wanting me to... I'm going to share something with you and 62 others right now, right?
Mm.
Weirdness, dude. Didn't really clock it the first time. But now it's happened a second time. And again, I'm not going all in, freaked out, like getting Bill round yet. But if we think back to remember when I had the shadow dude, like the thing out the corner of the eye that led me to get Bill to come and, you know, we done the deliverance on air.
Okay.
Yep,
Yeah.
yeah, I done the warrior kind
Okay.
of prayer on and off. I've still got the list of prayers I can do. Couple of days ago, going and running a bath. Yeah. Now, bear in mind, I seen Shadow Dude in the toilet, right? That's where I thought I seen him. Thought it was my son. Spoke to him. Like, whoa, why have you left the door open when you're using the toilet? One of those ones, right? Then my son answers me from in his bedroom. So I... Oh, exactly, Scott.
Okay.
Exactly, right? So nothing's
Yeah.
happened. A few years now's passed. In there, like I said, a couple of days ago, running the bath. And I hear Anne shouting me. So I'm like, oh, typical. Always waits till I'm running the bath. Turned off the water, right? What is it? Anne looking at me. What are you talking about? I'm like, okay, that's cool. That's, like I said, didn't even think anything else of it, right? Said to you about an hour ago, I said, Scotty boy, we'll take it easy. We'll go live in an hour or so. I'm just going to jump in the shower. Quick wash, quick freshen up, right? Yep. Run in the bath. Decided to jump in a quick bath. Bath on. They're just shouting me again. But this time it was like, not just Kev, it was like a sentence. So I'm like, right, she's definitely, right, what is he after? You want the toilet? Looking at me like I'm daft. She's got her headphones in, watching Netflix. Because I've got the telly for the fire in the background.
Ooh.
Now, like I say, I'm not jumping to conclusions yet, but the second time now that it's happened, oh boy, that was a quick bath, that one, Scotty boy.
We just need a third time's a charm to kind of confirm situation.
Well, when it happened tonight, Ange says, right, it might be about time we got that Bill Bean back on the case. So if it happens again, and I've got Bill tomorrow night on the show, and don't forget, folks, it's going to be a huge show tomorrow. We've got Travis Short coming on. We're going to be talking all things Point Pleasant and the Mothman. Oh, it's going to be a belter. But yeah.
Yes.
So what do you think, man? That's pretty weird. Usually you're the one that's got... And like I say, Scott, I'm not going full paranormal yet. Maybe there's something happening with the pipes. Do you know what I mean? Running the hot water. It's never happened before, though.
I mean, you're just thinking logically about it. You're not jumping to conclusions or anything like that. But
I'm keeping it as logical and as down to earth as I can, man.
Yeah, but on the other hand, you have already had two weird experiences. Something odd has definitely occurred because you heard something and it wasn't Anne.
And that's what worries me, because it most definitely was Anne when I heard it in my ear. And, it's like I heard it, dude. It's like
they're trying, like whatever it is trying to mimic.
That's what it feels like. Because when Anne's not doing it, I'm like, well, whoa. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Not good.
Well,
dude,
I guess you'll just have to see if it happens again. If it happens a third time or a fourth time, then that right there should.
I'd say that's when I stop talking about it on air.
Deal for me.
And I get Bill Bean on the case, man. We get the beanage into it. You better believe it.
Get the warrior to come in and lay down the gauntlet.
I tell you what, man. That time I went up to the last time we were at Boleskine House, the revisit, shall we say. We went back, and that was the time when myself and that's when we summoned up Bill's warrior angels. Well, I don't know if we did or not, but you can hear me on the camera saying we need Bill's angels here, man. They would sort this place. A couple of days later, boom, burnt the ground for a second time. Good wins, my friend, good wins. But Scotty boy, last night, what a show that was. What a conversation about the earth changes. And it's good to take a break from something, then go back and take a look. Because I didn't really appreciate how much of that type of news had been building up. especially about the core. You know, mysteries, anomalies, and you're my Earth Change guy, right? You watch Dutch Synth, you're a student of him, you watch Ben Davidson. You know these kind of things. Wouldn't say as well as Dutch, because Dutch is like League of his own stuff, but you know what's going on there.
Yeah, he's pioneering his own thing. There's no way you could,
So last night, on the kind of Earth changey topics, we ran out of time. That last segment was crazy. It was insane. Right, it was warp speed. But you had something that ties in with one of my favourite characters, and that's Nikola Tesla. Nikola Tesla and Earth changes. How on earth can we get into that? Oh, of course we can. Scotty's got us covered, ain't you, Scotty boy?
Yes, I do. And let's take a trip over to the mysterious universe.
Look at that, man. Look at that. It's Zordon. Zordon and my ghost. Boo. Yeah, look at that. We're back. We're back. Yes. Yeah.
Excellent. So, we are going to talk about Nikola Tesla's mysterious earthquake machine. And this definitely is a nice follow-up to all of our Earth change stuff that we were talking about yesterday. So
anything Tesla related's good, Scott.
Mm-hmm.
This was, for me, when I think of him, he's the path not taken. That would have been a different paradigm with the whole electrical thing and, again, the path not taken, dude.
He was literally tapping into the electric universe stuff.
Yeah.
And he would have taken us that route scientifically if we would have followed that. And yeah, we would have advanced a lot more. Our technology would be like pretty crazy. So yeah, it says, certainly one of the most recognized and famed inventors in history is none other than Nikola Tesla, famous for his various groundbreaking inventions pertaining to electricity and energy. He is known for his vast contributions to enabling electricity to transmit over long distances, as well as a plethora of other pioneering inventions that changed the world as we know it. Considering his eccentric demeanor, he has also gathered around him legends that make him almost larger than life, including building a functional death ray, causing the infamous Tunguska explosion in Siberia, and also the time he apparently crafted a working earthquake machine. And yeah, and it was interesting. We were talking about that before the show.
I mean, I've heard that, Scott. I've heard it was almost like a proof of concept, to show them that he had the kind of technology to be this wonder weapon. Now,
yeah, it was a demonstration.
Yeah, like I said to you before the show. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but why not?
I mean, if anybody was going to be able to do something like that, it would be Tesla, and it wouldn't be hard to imagine why he couldn't do it, given his abilities and stuff like that. So I don't know, but I mean, exactly. I mean, it's just open to speculation, but hey, if it was to happen, he would be my number one guy that I would suspect would be able to do that. So continuing on, it says, in the 1890s, Tesla was hard at work on an invention he called an oscillator, which was a reciprocal electricity generator meant to aid energy transfer and be a replacement for inefficient steam engines being used to power generators. The general idea was that his machine would use a system of valves to oscillate a physical object back and forth to create various frequencies, and that a receiving device would transmit these mechanical oscillations back into an electrical current. So it's almost like he's generating electricity out of like frequency oscillations. Interesting. Weird. Okay. It says, in one steam would be forced into the oscillator, which would be expended outward to power a series of pistons which could vibrate at extreme high speeds and intensity to produce energy, with other versions of this design using air compressors or bottled gas. Another was meant to utilize electromagnets to adjust the frequency of the oscillation, and yet another was meant to send energy into the rocks within the ground, which would vibrate and then transfer that energy to a second device to transform the oscillations into energy in a process he called telegeodynamics. Very interesting. In all versions, the device was in essence a piston frictionlessly vibrating in a cylinder, and Tesla predicted it was the wave of the future that would make him a fortune. But it was a process that had its share of growing pains. In one failed test, Tesla attached a vibrator to a cast iron chain link, which then blurred and shattered into pieces before startled witnesses' eyes. One of the pieces violently projectiled into a building across the street, and luckily not injuring anyone.
Wow.
So it like literally shook this chain link with such like high frequency vibrational force that it just disintegrated and just like exploded because it had that much like stored up energy in it. It's pretty crazy.
It's just like the kind of when you see the opera singer in the wine glass, you hit that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that's the same. It hit some kind of a resonance frequency that caused it to just explode. So that's crazy. It says it also was often reported that the intense vibrations had a physiological effect on people nearby, which typically took the form of headaches, nausea, and uncontrollable bowel movements that sent them running for the nearest toilet.
That's something called the brown note. I thought people were winding me up
Yeah.
about that, the brown note. And I'm like, don't ever Google that.
literally-
Don't ever Google it. Don't go there. There's some really bad stuff you pull up with the brown nose, Scott. But yeah, it's a thing.
Yeah, this literally was like it was hitting some kind of a resonant frequency that was really, really like messing up your insides, basically, and making you.
I think it was Mark Twain. Him and Mark Twain were meant to be really, really kind of close, and I think he was the one that I think it might even have been his own writing, where he was in, and they were doing an experiment, and it must have been this machine, because Tesla said to him, you know, I'll put it on and that, but he ain't gonna last long, and that was basically it. Within moments, you know, he's running for the toilet, coming out both ends, by the way. Nasty business, Scott, nasty.
Yeah, it probably
It's the
was
kind of
not.
cat you want to take to a party with you, innit? Come on, Nicola, get it going. Come on, do it. Come on, do it.
Fire it up, Nikola Tesla. Fire it up, Nick.
Get it going.
So, says yet another rather frightening test allegedly ended up in causing an earthquake that could have very well destroyed an entire building. The device in this case was claimed by Tesla to be a portable version that could fit in a pocket and was powered by compressed air. In one experiment, he had hooked the machine up to a steel beam in his own apartment building and had caused shaking and convulsing similar to an earthquake, which caused him to promptly shut it down. In another, can you imagine living in the same apartment that Tesla lived in?
It'd be crazy.
Like,
You'd be like, what is that maniac up to now? You'd hear him banging on things in the middle of the night. You wouldn't know if you were going to make it from one day to the next. You wouldn't know if a black hole or something was going to swallow you up, you know?
You'd be trying to sleep, and all of a sudden you just hear the sound of electricity. You're like, whoa, what's going on?
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? Like time travelers half appearing in your room and things. Like, oh, come on, Nicola, give a break. Will you've got work in the morning, man? I mean,
That's crazy. So it says in another experiment in 1898, he allegedly hooked up his oscillator at his laboratory at 48 East Houston Street, New York. He would say that this one evening he had hooked up the machine to the support beams of his apartment building, and when he started it up, objects began sliding off the shelves and increasingly flying through the air. This would all quickly escalate until there was a real earthquake event that would bring police and emergency services, and Tesla would write of his little covert experiment. He said, "I was experimenting with vibrations." I had one of my machines going and wanted to see if I could get it in tune with the vibration of the building. I put it up notch after notch. There was a peculiar cracking sound. I asked my assistants where did the sound come from. They didn't know. I put the machine up a few more notches. There was a louder cracking sound. I knew I was approaching the vibration of the steel building. I pushed the machine a little higher. Suddenly, all the heavy machinery in the place was flying around. He said, I grabbed a hammer and broke the machine. The building would have been about our ears in another few minutes. Outside in the street, there was pandemonium. The police and ambulances arrived. I told my assistants to say nothing. And we told the police that must have been an earthquake. That's why that's all they ever knew about it. Vibration will do anything. It would only be necessary to step up the vibration of the machine to fit the natural vibration of this building, and the building would come crashing down. That's why soldiers break step when crossing a bridge.
Is that?
So,
It is. Yep.
Yeah. So it's all about finding the resonant frequency of whatever structure you're in, and the building materials, and then if you match it up with that, you can create crazy oscillation.
Havoc, dude. Absolute havoc. Big shout out to Lisa and War. Lisa had to change shifts, and it's good to see you back here, Lisa, and War as well. Big shout out to you. But Scotty, I'm going to let you finish this off here. This is pretty interesting, man. One of the many interesting chapters in a very interesting dude's life, eh?
Mm-hmm. Oh, no doubt. So just finish up with this last paragraph here. And it says, he would later claim that the oscillations of his device could potentially reach enough magnitude to shake the Empire State Building to the ground. And pretty soon his invention was being called the earthquake machine. It is unclear if this was all an exaggeration or really happened. But if it's true, then it would be a real example of an earthquake weapon. Whether any of it was true or not, it would lay the foundations for other experiments with vibratory devices, such as George Konstantiniko's
George. Big G.
Yeah. Vibratory drills and rock cutters and others. We are left to wonder whether Tesla's supposed earthquake machine ever existed, or it is just another unconfirmed detail of his very strange life. If it ever was real, it had passed into the mists of time, and we may never know for sure. I doubt that. I
think it's real. I think that one's real. I think that's
that's totally real, and I think that a lot of that technology was what was contained in the documents that they took from after his death.
And of course, there was a discrepancy in the number of chests that he said he had, and then the number of chests that the family actually got. And that's where it gets really strange, because that's when you've got like Uncle Trump. Like, I think it was John Trump, I think his name is. He was in the FBI. Yeah. He went and got all the documents, and then it gets really weird and crazy, and time travel and all this stuff going on, He was doing these experiments with oscillations and generating resonant frequencies in the 1800s. There's a good chance whenever the first genuine time traveler turns up at that Australian YouTube channel, Apex TV, when the first genuine one turns up, Scott, it might actually be Nikola Tesla that steps out.
Oh,
how bizarre would that be, dude? Whoa, Nikola, what are you doing here, man?
He looks around and he's like,
huh,
What? What? I thought it would be different.
That's kind of like that. You ever watch that TV show Dark, Scott? You ever watch that one? Season 3 was just on there, and it's like to do with time travel, but it's really confusing, but it's really good as well because, like, if you imagine, like, our age, we time travel into the future, and our older version of ourselves would be there, right? And obviously, if we went the other way, your younger versions in the past and things, but then once you start interacting and overlooping and overlapping and oh, dude, it just gets wow. It's like, oh man, do you know what I mean? It's like we could like be visited by our future self. Like if they've cracked time travel, you know, at some point maybe somebody's gonna get a visit from their future self. How weird and bizarre would that be, dude?
It would be our future self, but from another timeline. That's
it would have to be, right? Because think about it, right? I'm here. I'm trying to build a time machine right now in 2020, right? And then in 2040, I would succeed in my little thought experiment here. So 20 years from now, I succeed. And I think to myself, when I succeed, well, bollocks to that. I'm going to cheat. I'm going to go back. I'm going to give it to younger Kev. I'm going to go back there. And I'm going to tell him, well, there's the information you need. That can't work. That can't work. Because then the time machine would always have existed. And what's the point in you inventing it in the first place? You see what I'm saying? It's all messed up and screwed up and cooey-looey and weirdness, man.
If you're just doing like, those are like the linear paradoxes, right? With time travel that occurs on one timeline, you know, one dimension. But if you time travel, then what you're doing is you're splitting off your timeline. Your whatever happens on that timeline is never going to change. So you have to split off, and like either another one is created, you know what I mean? You're creating another probability, and then you're interacting and changing everything that occurs in that probable
Dude,
timeline.
It just makes your head want to explode. It's like one of those things. It's like our operating system knows not to go there. Our brain, our neurons just start misfiring. It's craziness, dude. Time travel's bizarre. I'd love to think we could do it, but I don't know, man. I don't know.
It makes sense whenever like you hear like Geordie Rose talk about the parallel probabilities, right? And
don't mention him, dude. That triggers people, man. There'll be people now smelling sulfur, and
it's okay.
You know,
it's okay, people. Too bad. He
didn't honestly smell the sulfur. I thought he was all right. Pretty cool.
You know, he did dress pretty decked out with the whole red and black.
Oh, you better believe it. And even when I said to him during one of the breaks, you know, I says, I think it was something like, you really, you know how to wind people up. And he just laughed. He plays the part, dude. He's into the character. It is what it is, man. But yeah, his parallel dimensions, is that where we're going?
I mean, that's I think where you would have to look in.
But what if you go there, right? Okay, right, Scott, me and you, we get the machine. We've also got an underground base underneath Speculation Island. Shh, don't tell the 100 people that are hearing about it, right? So that's where we're building the time machine. That's where we get it going, right? So we go to the other timeline. Let's just call it timeline 2. We're on 1. We get there. We find out, but I'm like some super rich, cool New York dude. I'm hanging off the arm of AOC. You've got like some absolutely can't believe it lifestyle, everything. We look at each other and go, huh. Are we going to send the other two back? Are we going to stay there, Scotty boy? Are we going to hijack that timeline? Are we going to replace ourselves?
Then that would be what was bound to happen in that timeline. You know, that's the thing. That's just how it played out in that timeline. It was always it's not like you're really going there to change it. That's just how it played out. It's weird. And then there's other timelines where that never played out.
See this thing, Scott? Breaking news, Scotty. Breaking news. Where do you see this thing? Hang on, right? We're gonna break from our time travel here. Why? Because we've had an alert. There's an alert that there's a big cat roaming about in the Highlands. Dude, look at that thing.
Whoa.
I'm gonna bring it up on the.
What?
Check that out. Right, this is from the Highlands and Islands Police Division. Yes, that's what we call our police up there. And I know, it's really rural and really backward up there, Scott, but a picture, I'm only joking, people up in the north of Scotland, I'm from there, obviously it's not backward. This is Dave. Kev will be back after the weekend. I offend people, deal with it. A picture of the type of cat spotted in the Tane and Dornoch areas over the past week. Police advising people not to approach it. Yeah, well, anyone going to feed that thing probably deserves to get their fingers bitten, for a start.
See, don't you wish...
Can you see the patches on it? Look at that.
Oh, wow.
Oh, man, that's a demon cat. Hey, that's a hell cat.
I wonder if that was an exotic pet.
You know what happens when that comes into your garden, Scott? You ready? This is what happens when that walks into your garden. Ain't it? Yeah, thug cat life. Yeah, but
he's definitely in charge of that situation.
Big time, dude. He just needs a big gold chain on that thing. That cat's got attitude. Look at it.
So I wonder if it was an exotic pet that escaped, that
There's
somebody
only
was
one
keeping.
man. There's only one man. We need Joe Exotic over here. Can we get him out?
I was to say, we gotta see. Joe Exotic would handle this situation.
Are you on Team Joe? I'm on Team Joe Exotic. That Carol Baskin, she well done it. She done it. Anyway.
I'm totally Team Joe. I'm totally Team Joe.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Even if he was like kind of creepily like keeping young men kind of very much akin to hostage and turning them into brown chicken, brown cow kind of playthings. Joe, don't get me wrong, Joe Exotic's got a lot of flaws, but he's a man's man, right?
Oh my God.
Yeah, big time, man. Oh no, it's all going mad, Scott. Well, there you go.
So you know what? Everybody on that show was a certain level of batshit. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, big time.
You just had to it was like pick your poison on.
I must admit though, it was like compelling viewing for anyone out there. Where have you been if you've not watched like Joe Exotic and the madness? I remember Scott and Popeye sitting after one stream one night, and they're sitting there, and Popeye's doing his damnedest to tell me and go and watch this stupid Joe Exotic. I'm like, what on earth's name is wrong with you, Popeye? You're keeping chickens. You're telling me to go and watch a crazy dude called Joe Exotic. I put it on just to prove that he was mad. And I was caught. Oh, I need to watch another one. Surely that can't have seen that. Yep. Somebody in the chat room is Baby Yoda is
Excuse me, it's ma'am.
Absolutely Baby Yoda. We agree with you. That cat, that's up him. That's like right next to where my mum is, man.
Oh man, she better be on the lookout in case that thing comes. I wonder how many strange cryptid sightings are going to be attributed to this thing, because now people are going to see a giant.
You sometimes get lynxes.
No.
You get the lynx. You do get big cats as well, So I remember growing up, there used to be like every so often you'd get stories of a real big one being seen,
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's a hell cat, but It
No,
could have
no,
been. It
but
could have
still,
been pretty close to there, Scott. It crawled out of the bowels of Crowley's mansion.
all
And
I know is I wouldn't want this thing creeping up on me and doing something.
no, that's look at the markings on it. It's beautiful. Look at that. Look at
It's
that.
really, really cool that you can see the pattern.
Yeah.
Like,
Holy bagoli, man.
yeah, no.
Telling you, dude. That's pretty crazy, eh? Pretty crazy. And we've actually got, while we're talking about this then, this is probably a good time to throw in something random. 2020, Scott, right? 2020, the year that sharks started to walk.
Only in 2020, people.
Now,
only in 2020.
Do we know, Scott? Is this really the first ones, or has there been walking ones in the past before we dip our toe into this, and we'll just show people what we're talking about here?
I'm sure that they've existed in the past in some form or fashion, but it's just
Look at that thing. That's terrifying. Another bajillion years and that'll be walking out of the water and eating people on land, Scott. On land. You know it. I know it. So yeah, it says here, walking sharks sound like something you'd see in a preview for Sharknado 8. Nowhere is safe. Well, no, it just sounds like something you'd find on 2020. That, to be quite honest with you, it's just another day in 2020, right? So if we come back, where is it here? Yeah, so, but it's apparently a totally real thing, and the researchers have discovered a handful of species in recent years that have seemingly evolved the ability. Scientists have known about sharks that have the ability to walk with their fins on dry land for a while. But in researching the known species, they discovered 4 new species that have apparently developed the ability much more recently. Scott, they're starting to train themselves to come out of the water. Sharks are organising. Animals have had enough. Yesterday we discovered that we're absolutely stupid compared to a cow in the field. Now we're learning that sharks have had enough. They're trying to walk out of the ocean.
It's begun, Kev.
I'm not saying Begley's right, but eventually he's going to be right. You know what I'm saying? And when sharks are walking, I've got a problem here. Yeah, so they've known for a while they walk. Why has this not been world news? Why have, like, armies from around the world not gathered to take on and rid us of this present danger? That's an alpha predator right there, Scott.
You know what? The walking sharks are going to team up with the murder hornets.
Well, I'll tell you one shark who's on a stop clock if it's got any plans of taking over the planet, and that'll be the great white shark, right? Well, no, not much longer, pal. Not much longer. Just a great shark, or you've got to go. Only, I'm just saying. But anyway, it goes on to say here, right? The research was published in the journal Marine and Freshwater Research, and it suggests that sharks may gain some big advantages by being able to slink along the seafloor rather than swimming. I would probably imagine so. I've watched a lot of SpongeBob. Walking fish do well. They really do. So the walking sharks tend to appear in roughly the same area, which happens to be in the waters of Northern Australia. They're typically... It had to be Australia, didn't it? They're wanting to fight with kangaroos, don't they?
Where else are you going to get some crazy animal news than Australia, man?
Somebody pissed off an Australian shark and they've all looked at each other and gone, "It's time, Bruce. It's time." Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. No wonder you fear the crocodile, man, over in Australia. You know, this has been foretold many, many moons ago. Yep. See? Telling you, Scott.
You've got to evolve to go toe-to-toe with the bunyip, man.
Oh, the bunyip! I mean, come on. A bunyip that hangs around a billabong. Only could you ever get that in Australia, isn't it? I bet you it wears a hat with corks hanging off it and drinks beer and wears budgie smugglers and treats women the way women need to be treated. You know what I'm saying, Scott? Yeah, they're toxic as hell down there, man. Toxic down there. I love you, Australia. Don't ever change. Don't do it. So then, yep, indeed. They're typically smaller in size. Well, that's a bonus. So you won't spot a great white shark walking along the bottom of the ocean anytime soon. But not that I walk along the bottom of the ocean myself at any point. And it appears that to help sharks, or help the sharks hunt for ground-dwelling prey. So instead of swimming around, these little bottom-dwelling sharks actually walk. You think they've got a bit of a strut on, Scott? You think they, after a while, it'll become part of their mating thing. They'll be like John Travolta, man. It'll be Saturday Night Fever meets Jaws. Who knew? Who knew?
You just hear "Staying Alive" from the Bee Gees kick on. And...
Can't beat a bit of Bee Gees, man. Can't beat the Bee Gees. So anyway, instead of swimming around, these little bottom-dwelling sharks actually walk using their pectoral and pelvic fins, which makes it easier for them to poke their heads under coral and rocks as they look for small fish, snails, and crustaceans to eat. Mark Erdman, a co-author of this study, said in an interview, "We found that most walking sharks spend their entire lives on the same reef that they were hatched, never really moving more than a mile out of this radius. The only way that they can get across deep water or move a significant distance would be if they're on a reef that is moving due to tectonic plate shifting." So Scott, hang on a minute. Are we laughing? Are we laughing at sharks that can't swim? Holy shit, dude. They can't actually swim. No wonder they're walking, you geniuses. How else are they meant to get around? They fall to the bottom if they can't swim, right? So over time you have to get going somehow.
They're relegated to just scooching along at the bottom. They can't really join their finned friends up above, unfortunately.
All life matters. All life matters. I am absolutely disgusted that nobody's taken up the cause of the walking shark. All these pesky swimming sharks. Look at them with their swimmy privilege that they've got going on there. You
say,
great.
Look,
yeah.
Their finned privilege.
Oh, absolutely brilliant. Let's cancel fins, Scott. Cancel. If one shark can't swim, then all can't swim. You know, they'll got to be equal. Yeah, community sharks. You know, a shark belongs to the community, folks. Remember that.
Hashtag cancel fins.
The research explains that the sharks that have been observed walking tend to be in isolated areas and don't travel far. They attribute the rapid development of walking techniques to individuals or small groups of sharks moving to a new area. And once they adopt the walking technique, future generations learn it from birth. Now that's fascinating. But Scott, is that almost like the shark see, shark do, 100th shark theory? Once enough sharks get it, they just moved on our reef. They bimble on in there with their kind of cool sharky walk, and all the rest of the sharks go, "I'm having some of that."
They're like, that's the future. That's the way we need to go.
Genius. Why didn't I think of that? Know what I mean?
I mean, hey, if it works for the shark and he's able to stay within a 1 mile radius and get everything he needs, eating everything that's settled down to the bottom of the ocean, then hell, why not?
Exactly. Why do I need to go anywhere else? You know?
Yeah, who needs to swim miles? That's ridiculous.
Ludicrous idea. Look at these idiots all swimming about all day, knackered, doing their swimmy things, you know?
They've hit the next level of evolution.
Big time, dude. Them and octopi. Definitely. I was bragging about your knowledge of the octopi the other day, Scott. I was trying to find a video that didn't have like a bajillion views and really copyrightish. But most of
Yeah.
these cool octopus videos, it sounds weird, a cool octopus video. Oh, they're very cool. Now that's a beastie and a half, dude. That's intelligence. Different from ours, but highly conscious.
Extremely intelligent and very clever. The octopus is very, 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 very clever. Like if because to me, I think it's very hard to try and equate the intelligence level of different species because they all
strung octopus stuck to her face, dude. Whoa, that's not good.
Not good.
Not good, no.
Because I think like the level of intelligence for each species, like it operates differently, so it's hard to compare the two. But they say the intelligence of an octopus is kind of on par with like the intelligence of a very, very, very smart canine. So, but I don't know. I think it's hard to equate the two because they're just two different species and they think in different ways. So, but their ability to escape stuff is amazing. Like
look at that. Look, unscrewing it,
Yeah, it knows that it needs to unscrew the jar to get out. And it's like these see, got out. He's like, whatever, man, you're not gonna keep me in there.
It's not even bothered about getting out, it just wanted the lid off.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one you showed me, and it's absolutely fantastic. But yeah,
and then there's like actual sort of like there was papers being written about the possibility that octopi are not even from Earth, that they actually could be an alien species that crashed into the planet a long time ago and
here we go.
entered.
Here we go. Are octopus aliens from outer space that were brought to Earth by meteors? Wow. So, great shout, Scott. Octopuses are... Is it octopuses or octopi? I prefer octopi.
I think it could be either or. I don't think like either one is wrong. I could be mistaken, but I like to use octopi.
Octopussy sounds like you're just getting really greedy, like with 8 girlfriends going on there. No need.
Yeah, and there's already a James Bond movie out there, so.
Yeah, we don't do James Bond, man. No. We're doing octopi on the Kev Baker show, chill stream at the weekend. Yes, indeed. This could be our exponentials podcast, Scott, one day.
Look how many researchers made this claim, Kev.
What? Are you ready? 33 of the researchers. Oh. Yep, 33. So then, they're not referring to aliens in a metaphorical sense, but literal aliens from outer space. So since the paper was released on Saturday, and this comes from 2018, folks, May 19th, 2018, a trickle of news coverage has turned into a torrent with increasingly alarming headlines about octopuses and their extraterrestrial origins. It will not come as a surprise to many to learn that these claims have been roundly mocked by the scientific community, who have branded the paper, published in Progress in Biophysics and Molecular Biology, That's ridiculous and unscientific. So
See, this was a good example of the mainstream scientific community going, no, 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 no. Your alternative theory on this is they got really upset that somebody proposed this thing, and it sounded like it wasn't just some outrageous claim. I mean, they published it in an actual scientific paper, right? I mean, it looked like it was an actual legit thing. So it's interesting to see the backlash from the scientific community about this.
remember we were talking last night about Brendan that comes on the show, Brendan Drackler, the astrophysicist.
Yeah.
I've often asked him if he had like a blank check and he could like go and put any kind of project together out in space, one of our planets. He always talks about Europa and the potential for Europa having some kind of liquid water life, on that actual moon. So it's not impossible. In fact, our own solar system could perhaps have some of these alien octopus already out there, right?
Exactly. And if I remember correctly, I mean, well, I guess we'll find out in this article, but I think one of the claims were that it could have been a meteor impact that hit Europa.
Now, where's Europa? Is that a Jupiter or Saturn moon?
I believe it is Jupiter moon.
Okay.
I think.
A Jovian moon. I like that.
Yeah, and it's pretty much nothing but a water planet or water moon with just a layer of ice and then a ocean inside, which right there, I mean, you literally have something made of just complete water, and you've got ice over the top of it, insulating the oceans on the inside. You could have all kinds of life existing on that thing. And
yes.
I believe what they thought, or that one of the theories is that a meteor or something hit Europa and blew a chunk of ice and a lot of its, some of its ocean out into space, right? And that over time, a chunk of that came in and hit Earth. And as it didn't you got to think, you got a huge chunk of ice coming into the atmosphere. Yeah, it's going to burn off some, but if you have a surviving core of ice that then plunges into our ocean, all it has to do is thaw out, and whatever was contained in that ice block is boom, back in an environment that it can thrive in, because it went from
Sharknadoes and octopi. Ah, yes, indeed.
I mean, even the things living in an ocean on Europa, its eggs or whatever get blown out into space and then frozen, basically cryogenically preserved, and then end up crashing into our planet and thawing out, and then they just hatch like they normally would, and
Cthulhu lives, man. Cthulhu lives. Yeah.
Exactly.
So it says here, they suggest that the Cambrian explosion, a sudden burst of life that occurred 540 million years ago, was the result of extraterrestrial intervention. And the paper asks whether this event, which saw the rapid emergence of the main animal groups that still exist on Earth today, was terrestrial or cosmic. And their conclusion is the latter. So how do the scientists suggest that this would work? Well, specifically, the researchers propose the idea that the alien viruses crashed to Earth in a meteor, infected a population of primitive squid, and caused them to evolve into octopuses, or octopi. Another theory is that they suggest is that fertilized squid or octopus eggs were delivered to Earth, like some kind of panspermia, Scotty boy.
bit of band, or like
Octospermia.
yes, yes. Yeah, basically that, or going to the theory I was saying where something broke off of Europa. It's the same thing,
Yeah.
It was these eggs that were somehow preserved in a meteor that survived the hit,
Very interesting, man.
Very
So it says the idea is essentially a reimagining of the panspermia hypothesis. We got that. So why do the researchers look at the octopus in particular? Because they're weird. They are mollusks. Meaning. Yeah, look at that answer.
Weird, man. They're freaking weird. They've got to be aliens. So we're gonna have to do some research on.
Meaning they are closely related to snails, and yet they are incredibly intelligent. So on top of their large brains and sophisticated nervous system, the authors of the new paper list camera-like eyes, flexible bodies, and the ability to camouflage themselves by changing colour and shape as evidence of their extraterrestrial origins. Scott, this is like a biological invasion force. They're here to watch us and report everything with their camera eyes. And then they're beaming it through the cows. They're using the cows in the field. It's you had to be there for Freaky Friday or you just wouldn't have got that. But yeah, I've got it all happening now, man.
Well, they are. I mean, if you look at just them on a biological level, I mean, they are absolute biological freaks of nature. Octopi are. I mean, just everything that they've evolved to do and like their intelligence is really, really interesting. So yeah, I mean, they literally can do the predator camouflage, right? Boom, they just kind of fade out. They can adapt to their environment. And remember, there was a video I think I had sent you where they even believe that octopi dream.
Yeah, they change color and stuff.
They sleep upside down, or there's a certain way that they kind of anchor themselves whenever they sleep, and they were noticing that this one was like pulsing different camouflage colors, so they were thinking it was dreaming about something, and its camouflage was reacting to what it was doing in the dream.
Transmitting, Scott, that was it, transmitting to a cow on Skinwalker Ranch, and then bloof. I tell you what, we were looking at weird beasties the other day, and we were looking at a giant squid. This thing was a monster, dude. A proper monster. Do you know what I mean? So it says here, so suddenly did these features appear in the octopus family tree that it is plausible then to suggest that they seem to be borrowed from a far distant future in terms of terrestrial evolution, and more realistically from the cosmos at large. So did the Anunnaki come down here and did they mess with the octopus as well? Is there a Zachariah Sitchin kicking about walking as a shark somewhere? Is he like decoding corals on the bottom of the sea? Any? They're waiting for an Arnaburu to come into the sea, isn't there? Yep.
The walking sharks are trying to find Sitchin. That's what they're doing. They're trying to they're gonna dig them up out of the
Sitchin fins. Yes.
Sitchin's kitchen.
Sitchin's kitchen, dude. I tell you, man, if Elon Musk doesn't open Sitchin's kitchen, I don't know. He's just not got any sense of humor at all. So it says, such an extraterrestrial origin as an explanation of emergence, of course, runs counter to the prevailing dominant paradigm. Well, a paradigm's only dominant until new information comes along and people are willing to let go of the old one. I tell you.
Exactly.
I say. Yeah.
Exactly.
So this is a strong contender for the understatement of the century. So what reason is there to doubt the claims being made? There's plenty of reasons. First off, as Mark Carnell of the Oxford University Museum of Natural History pointed out in a series of tweets, not one of the paper's
Oh,
authors
so
is a
he's-
zoologist. So yeah, you decide to go to Twitter. Oh, he's a woke one, isn't he? Just because they're not
I was-
zoologists doesn't mean they can't put a paper together.
he decided to, he's like, it's time to shill for the
Yeah.
to shill for the mainstream scientific community and set
He's
these
simping for dinosaur, old school, old world science. You absolute cuck. Yes,
Yes.
simp. Look at him. Look at him posting pictures. Oh, look at me! I found my crusade. I'm gonna stop this. I'll put an end to any of these new ideas. Absolute buffoon. Look at that. That there. Doesn't that tell you that he's just soy? Who on earth's name, even if that looked like you would put that as your profile picture? Mark, sort it out, man. Come on. So, in fact, Octopus.
he even used the hashtag justice
Oh my.
just full of pots.
Oh my goodness, man. What? Come on. I bet you if you were to go to his, are we gonna guess? Can we guess that he's gonna have his pronouns in there?
Do you think he's left leaning?
Pronouns? You think so?
Do you think he's just a little bit on that left side?
I think so. I think he's probably been to a few protests recently. I bet one of his knees is probably scuffed, probably all cut because he's been taking it so often. And I would guarantee that this gentleman here will feel the need to declare to the world on his Twitter page that he identifies as he, him. Please, please. No, he didn't. Oh, okay, Mark, we'll let you off, and I'll give you a follow for that, brother. You'll probably hit me down for being a nasty, not woke person. But yeah, there you go, Scotty boy. What was our story? What was it? Was it the octopi? Where did we go? There we are. Yeah, so I don't know, dude. I'm quite open to the fact that these could be an anomaly. Something weird going on here.
I think there's a lot of species on the planet that may have had cosmic origins. Honestly, I think there are probably viruses and certain bacteria and maybe even mycelium that is like cosmic in nature and probably exists on other planets as well. That it's not just isolated to us and being something that only evolved on our planet and is only existent here. I think that there are kind of these universal organisms that could possibly exist and span across many, many different planets and solar systems and stuff like that. And if we're talking about a huge network like that, then it wouldn't be all too. The probability of that thing finding its way to a planet that it doesn't exist on is much higher, because that's the nature of that organism, right? Is to, if it's already existing at a cosmic level, then it's just trying to expand out and find other places it hasn't gone to, And if its way of reaching those planets is the same way of, say, pollination, right, where you just depend on wind or something to randomly carry a piece of pollen somewhere and pollinate another flower, or a seed that is just picked up by wind and randomly thrown somewhere where it can thrive, that's the same way with, like, probably the way a lot of this kind of cosmic stuff spreads, a planet that it may have existed on gets hit by a meteor and it ejects it out somewhere, and it's going to end up landing somewhere. It's just a random kind of a lot of it has to do with chance, but it happens, so.
Do you think the octopus is going to lead the shock troop marching, walking sharks out the ocean? Do you think, like, the octopus is almost like the shaman of the seas? Is he like the yogi? Is he like umming it up somewhere? Do they all go and see? Do they get time with the octopus, if you've been like a good walking shark, do you like get 5 minutes with him? Do you think he kind of enlightens the fish life?
It reminds me of the meme where you see like the shark jumping out of the water, but then like a raptor riding on the shark and he's holding like an RPG or something. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. Edward in the chat said jellyfish are weird. Yeah, jellyfish are weird. They're one of the weirder organisms as well. And they're like one of the oldest. Like they haven't really evolved for millions and millions of years.
Okay, this comes from one of the chatters as well. This looks good. This will fit in here, dude. Let's see what this has got. Okay. There's a 14-legged killer squid found 2 miles beneath Antarctica, being weaponized by Vladimir Putin. Dear Lord. Wow, I tell you what, I've seen some real poor attempts to like frame Russia up as the bad guy, but weaponizing a 14-legged killer squid, Scott. It sounds like it doesn't need any weaponizing if it's already a killer squid. It's pretty much got it down to fine art, right?
That is a bold claim, Express.
Let's see.
Good on you.
Yeah, the bear in mind this is the main purveyor, well, the main carrier of Begley material. Just bear that in mind, okay?
Well, then, okay, makes a lot of sense now.
Let's see, though. Let's give it a chance, though, because, you know, every fake news website has some truth in it somewhere, right? A kernel in there somewhere. So, not the Colonel. The Colonel's fine. He's making chicken again. He's back in business, man.
We just need to have Begley fact check this for us.
Yeah, I'm just gonna like get on the blower to him and Benjamin Fulford. He's gonna run it by the Thousand Dragons and all the ninjas, and I'm telling you, man.
Confirmation. That's all we need is confirmation.
Maybe David Wilcock or Corey Good. Maybe they could run it by their insiders. You know. Dr. Anton Podolka, great name. I don't care what he's doing. It's a great name. Claims he was part of a Russian scientific expedition to a subterranean lake in the Arctic that discovered the terrifying creature known as, oh, this is brilliant, Organism 46B. He said that the discovery at Lake Vostok was covered up by Russian officials who are now looking at ways to weaponize and breed the deadly squid with potentially devastating effects. Well, there's a couple of ways of looking at that, and one of them makes me laugh. Are they actually going to send like Russian people to mate with a squid? That's going to be a horrible outcome. That's all I can say. Half man, half squid. That doesn't even sound scary.
Excuse me, it's a man.
Kind of a tentacly slimy effect. No, Organism 46B. That's
awesome. For that reason alone, I'm intrigued to find out just where this leads.
Name. It's a cool name. It sounds like definitely some sci-fi movie.
It's a cool topic, Scott. I mean, that's like an alien world, and down there the kind of extremophiles and things like that they're finding. That proves that life is very, very hardy indeed.
It's that lake that they don't want to contaminate at all with any sort of bacteria or anything, because it's literally like a time capsule that has been sealed off by the ice, you know? And so we're talking about an ancient lake that has just existed there in kind of its own sealed off ecosystem from the rest of the world, which is pretty insane, you know. Once again, the stuff on our own planet that we don't even understand, you know.
Yep. So he said here that the discovery at Lake Vostok, we got that. So Dr. Patolka said the squid, which was discovered in a freshwater lake trapped beneath 2 miles of ice, possessed an array of weapons and was responsible for the death of at least 2 of his scientific colleagues on the expedition. So, giving details which sounded like a script of a B-movie horror film, he said, "We encountered organism 46B," and see if I get all the way through this, and he's been like recounting this encounter to Project Scamelot. I'm going to be really miffed. So we encountered organism 46B, because this is feeling very Camelot-ish. I'm just saying. I can see this character turning up on Kerry's sofa one day real soon, Scotty boy.
Is it feeling pretty there's a lot of the Camelot air to it?
Well, we'll see. We encountered organism 46B on our first day. It disabled our radio, which we learned later to our alarm was intentional. So it's also able to paralyze prey from a distance of up to 150 feet by releasing its venom into the water. Tragically, my colleague and lifelong friend was killed this way. He tread water wearing a blissful smile as the organism approached him. Now, I don't think anyone's been swimming in Lake Vostok, to be quite honest with you. There's one problem I have with this story so far. Just one. But we watched helplessly as it used its arms to tear off its head, then popped its remain. Oh, come on. Come on. It was as if it had hypnotized him telepathically. I swear to God, there's a blue chicken in here somewhere. So the 33, yeah, there it is, man. It's the Masons. It's a bloody Masonic squid, I should have known. Vladimir Putin's got nothing on this squid. He's already taken the knee, taking the oath. Can a squid take the knee? Or did I say you take a knee to take the oath? Oh, sorry. Everything gets blurred nowadays, right? The 33-foot-long man-eater. Also, he's a man-eater. Also boasts extraordinary camouflage that helped it stalk the researchers. Including shapeshifting. Oh, we're liking it. We're liking it.
A shape-shifting squid. Awesome.
Dr. Podolka. And if anyone's good at anagrams out there, please tell me if that says don't be a plonker or something. The shape-shifting capabilities of Organism 46B. What did Organism 46A look like? And bear in mind, this was on day 1 of their adventure. So they managed to find 45 other organisms before this one. And before their radio got knocked out and one got eaten in the head. And sounds like an expedition, man. Damn, dude. The shape-shifting capabilities of the Organism 46 sound almost diabolical. It shaped itself into the form of a human diver. Well, thank you, and we're hot on the heels of what could be a real killer squid here, and we're deep diving the squid.
It could shapeshift into people. It could shapeshift into divers, man. This is one hell of a weapon.
Wouldn't have been better, Scott.
Got going on up there.
When they dropped the Russian guy down the 300-foot hole, or however far it is down to Lake Vostok in the first place, if the squid had just been waiting there in diver form, you would shit yourself. Wouldn't you be like, whoa, how long have you been here, man? Squid just sitting there. An octopus comes flying by, doing all his shamanic type things, man.
Welcome to Lake Vostok, comrade.
One of them,
enjoy your stay.
I can't do the Russian, man. You've got the Russian sorted. You've got it, dude. I am attached to the Russians for the one mission.
So the squid shapeshifts into a French guy.
That's it, dude. It's a French diver. Right,
It is.
So we'll come back. We thought it was one of my colleagues swimming towards us in the scuba gear. Oh, come on. But by the time the closest scientist has realised what it was, it grabbed him and it done bad things to him. he revealed that the octopus could also use its tentacles, I said tentacles, to kill people, even after they'd been hacked off its body. Okay. This guy's going all in, right? He's not like, I mean, let's face it, if he's making up, he's decided, I'm going all in on it.
The ultimate squid super weapon. I mean, he's going balls to the wall with this, man.
Is this Squidgate?
turning
Is
back.
this like Squidgate? I tell you, man, did he like try and influence the elections? I'm gonna start thinking he's like doing some telepathic shit to elections by the time we get to the bottom of this. So
Just wait, we might have telepathic abilities. Well, remember, it hypnotized his friend, so maybe it
exactly,
does.
dude, maybe we're in a bit of a hypnotic state ourselves. Maybe, you never know. So it says Dr. Podolka claimed another of his colleagues were killed by a tentacle many hours after slicing it off with an axe. Sorry, you know me, I laugh at inappropriate stuff. So he said later that night it just slithered across the ice pack and strangled her. Oh, come on. Come on, dude.
God,
Then Cody Good appeared on a blue chicken and strangled it by the neck. Ah! Wilcock came out in full Edgar Casey mode with a big wizard's kind of jacket and everything on. The blue chickens arrived. And 46B was put back in the hole, Scott. Back in the hole. Tell
you
me, man.
see, they should have just sent you down there with your handsome Kev face, your Squidward face. Remember?
I will have my Squidward face for the next time I PPP, sir. Right? How's that sound?
Yes.
So it
That
says,
sounds-
after 5 days of battling the animal, bloody hell, Scott. 5 days they went like toe to tentacle with this thing. The remaining scientists finally trapped organism 46B in a tank. Do you think he was in full diver mode at that point to try and kind of pull on the heartstrings? Think he put on like sad eyes? Oh, please let me out.
Shapeshift into like a naked lady or something like that.
Damn, dude.
Not very smart, organism 46B. I mean, is that his only human shapeshifting ability? Is just to go immediate scuba mode?
When did it see a diver if it's been stuck in Lake Vostok for 10 bajillion years, you know?
It's like, look, I can do this trick, but I can only shapeshift into one thing, and I'm sorry, you get Scuba Dave, man. Scuba Dave is the only thing I can give you. That's it. That's all I got.
Oh, Scott, as far as cryptids go, I'm not having it. Not having it, man. It says here, they brought it to the surface, but were shocked when it was seized by Russian officials who told the waiting international press that nothing had been found. So Dr. Podolka fled the country and raised the alarm this week after he claimed to have discovered Mr. Putin's plan to use it, the animal, as a military weapon. And he warned that these plans and any possible plans to breed more of the creatures could be devastating. He said some of the octopus lay 200,000 eggs. Imagine they were deposited in reservoirs and lakes across North America. Oh, you Americans, eh? Oh, I tell you what, William Cooper, all these like famous conspiracy theorists in the past, none of you's got it right. None of you's predicted an invasion by killer squid that were trained. I'm just waiting for it to say that it's actually going to be Vladimir Putin that breeds with the thing itself. That would finish this story off completely, man.
Who knew that this was the final card, Kev?
The last card, eh?
The last card. It was the squid.
Shape-shifted squid card. Wonder if it's in the Illuminati card deck. Do you think there's a squid in the Illuminati card deck?
Ooh,
If there is, then we might have to take it back. We might be wrong. But have you noticed anything here, folks? Have you noticed anything? I'll tell you one thing that jumps out right away. The lack of any link to show you where on Earth's name this is coming from.
Absolutely.
No, it's linkless. I would imagine that Sasha Fall has been writing about this character. Here we go. A Great White Darkness. Tentacles,
this be
part
the
1
home?
it's called. Hang on, look.
Is this the home of Dr.
I think
Anton?
it is, yeah. Polar horror in fact and fiction. Oh, so, come on, he's mixing. He's already telling you there. Look. Tentacles, part 1. Weird monsters and cryptids. Now, this is Ali Wilkes. Okay, so in the last post, Doctor.
Of course, the Express was quite quick to.
Yeah, they don't about me. Is
Yeah,
this
it's
about him?
hilarious.
No, this is that's not his website. Somebody's been writing about it. Here we go. Cryptid fandom. The animal had limbs which were animate and aggressive even after amputation, could release a toxin into the water to immobilize its prey up to 150 feet, displayed an astonishing degree of shapeshifting, and showed a considerable degree of both hostility and intelligence. So,
You know what? I think the bunyip could take it.
I think the bunyip could take it as well. Let's look at the bunyip. You know, the bunyip could actually have been a squid at the front, and then like a walking shark, or a like these crocodiles, these big, yeah, man.
The picture kind of looked like that.
Yeah, the bunyip, the old face. Look at that. It's almost like a shrimpy face going on there, man. Look at that thing. Dude, I'm telling you, man, if you like screwed up like a big squid, if you took its tentacles and started like making limbs out of them and stuff, I don't know, man.
What a weird creature. What one of the most weirdest cryptids.
Yeah. I think that's the weirdest one I've come across.
Just because of the fact that it like has this weird shapeshift, like you can't really make out what it actually is.
You know, Jason's doing like he's been doing like little people and stuff like that. He's actually now working on the Anukin. Remember the Anukin, dude? Look at that thing, man. That's Titanus bunyip. Wow. There's something almost Loch Ness monstery to the bunyip. Like that could easily produce the same kind of sightings you get for humps if it's like kind of doesn't need to be humped if it's like that long that it's going up and down like a snake. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, very, very, very like a very kind of serpentine long sort of.
Hey, wait a minute, Scott. Wait a minute. In the chat room, yeah, she's in the chat room. So.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Definitely.
Oh, the OG Annie in the house, man.
Had to get that music going, no doubt.
Absolutely. She has to be. She's waiting for her dopamine. That's what it is, Scott. She'll weigh in for. Yep. She'll weigh in. Everyone. Hi, Anne. Oh, look, you all have her heads like that. I do all the hard work, and she gets all the glory. What's that all about? We'll unleash the bunyip on her later. Annie, have you seen my bunyip?
Is that a bunyip in your pants, or you just see me?
Oh, I think I just tackled a bunyip, Mr. Scott. But anyway, if we come back here, I really want to see if we can trace down if this dude's real or what. I'm sure he is real. Was he on talk radio? Wow, man, he's been talking about this for a while then, right?
Huh.
Dr. Anton.
There's no links.
There's never
You
any
know?
links, dude.
There's never any links to
No.
even like.
Biography. Just to see, like, he's a doctor, but a lot of people claim to be doctors nowadays.
If you don't get any links, right on the first page, and it's
Yeah. Exposition 43.
unless they're suppressing it, Kev. They don't want you to know the
Oh,
truth.
this is the stuff that'll get you in trouble, Scott. This is the stuff, if I'm telling you, man.
They're scrubbing it from the search engine, Kev. They don't want you to look into Putin's.
Is he missing? Is he missing?
It's a YouTube.
Okay, here we go. 1996 by 1996, more than 70 lakes have been identified beneath the Antarctic ice sheet. From ice penetrating radar.
How do we know he's not the squid? It shapeshifts, dude. That might be the diver with his diving gear on. I'm not watching that. I'm not getting copyright by the squid.
That's Scuba Dave, man. That's
Scuba Dave right there. But look, I'll tell you, I don't know about the squid, right? But one thing you can't deny or we can't laugh at is the fact that wouldn't be the first time they've used marine life to for military purposes. You got the dolphins and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, I mean, there really is. There really were, things that they did. Militaries and things where they used animals for warfare. And I mean, it goes back to the Russians like using dogs to carry explosives under tanks, as horrific as that was. I mean, they're utilizing animals. Wasn't it the Russians that were like doing stuff with dolphins? It was, and I think we were too.
Oh, I don't know about giant killer squids, but I can tell you that there might be a big reptilian about to be hatching down there.
This is interesting.
This is hey, we need Scuba Dave to go down and check it out, Scott. Check that out. So, yeah, the world's second largest egg, and it's found in Antarctica, and it might belong to a giant sea lizard. Look at that. And that's one big dried up prune looking thing right there, right?
That's a big dried up egg, but that's quite the size. And if you can imagine how big it would be,
that's like how big, like
when it was.
That's like Prince Charles big. That's like where the royals come out of.
I mean, if it wasn't all kind of collapsed in and deflated, like if it was its actual size, I mean that's a big egg,
That's a big reptile. That's all I'm saying.
That's a big reptile. Yeah.
Are we talking like as in big reptile, Scott? Big.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a pretty monster sea reptile, and we know how big things in the ocean can get. So I'm assuming if we're dealing with some kind of a prehistoric reptile that lived in the ocean, that it's gonna have to hold its own against other really, really big things, or it could be the apex predator at the time as well.
What do you make of this then, right? Name drop as I do. Cheryl Jones from Coast to Coast last week, Scott. She came on and we asked her what her most interesting case she had worked on. And she's the investigative kind of journalist there, like a Linda Moulton Howe type kind of character. But she's herself. Linda does her thing. But her most interesting case was a woman who claimed to have had dealings with reptilians. That's one thing. But then, Scotty, next level. Claims of DNA evidence that supports the claims. And again, I've not looked into the case myself, but Cheryl said, like, it passed her sniff test. She spoke to the people at the lab. It is what the person says it is. It's not human. It's certainly got reptile in there. And again, I was like, whoa, jaw hitting the ground, man. Whoa, that's huge, you know? Huge, if that's the case. And I say, if that's the case. I'm not saying it is. I'm not just taking it at face value, but wow.
I mean, if that turns out to be legit, then, you know, I mean, it's like, whoa.
I believe they're out there, you know? Big time. Big time. Too many stories of them. Myth, legend. Yeah.
A reptilian race. Yeah, something to that.
You even
no doubt.
You look at them, it's not a stretch to think of something like that big, advanced, kind of in our form only. Very, very reptilian-y looking. I don't buy into all this crap, though. Well, not crap, but all these claims that you see people shape-shifting on the telly. I don't go into all that. That's too far for me personally.
I used to be like, oh, you know.
Look, the eyes flickered. The eyes flickered.
Yeah, but after a while, it's like, nah, come on.
Yeah. Now, is there a chance that there's shapeshifters amongst us? I'm very open to that idea. Very open to it. Myself and Scott, you need to know how we roll. We laugh, we joke, but yeah, we wouldn't bring these things up if we didn't think there might be some underlying kind of foundation to all of the kind of stuff that we explore on here, you know?
I mean, look, if you look into all of the ancient stories and myths and legends from different cultures across the world, you always see this common thing of a reptilian race of some kind, reptiles, and like, it's just another one of those things where it's like, it's got to be based in something, or so many people wouldn't.
And that's what I'm talking about there. It's not a big stretch for your head to go to that form of thing, you know? That'd be absolutely bloody terrifying. I don't know about anything else. Insectoids, you hear a lot about insectoids as well. That's another one. In recent times, I've been hearing a lot about the insectoid ones, but look at that there. I mean, come on, look at what are they trying to show you there, folks?
Oh, those are the statues that Everard was talking about in his stuff. Isn't that like
Olmec stuff? No. Just because he talks about them a lot, dude, that's why I thought of them there.
I think it's Japan, possibly, or something like that.
Lynn, it's actually Strawberry Dog, but Jack Herrera, oh my word. That and White Widow, oh, absolutely, the last word in perfection. But, yeah, I don't know, dude. I think there's something to that. I must admit. I don't care if people laugh or think it's wrong. I don't mind. I don't mind if you don't believe in them. I sure as hell wouldn't like to prove myself right by like finding one of them. You know, I don't want to meet one of these things in my bedroom ever. Let's see, I told you they're real.
It's next time you go to the bathroom, Kev, you're gonna find a reptilian in there.
I didn't even listen to that because then I can't manifest that naughty thought you just tried to throw my way. Okay.
Just block it.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Let's move. Let's see what else we've got here. Right. The other day, was it the other day? A wee while back, we were talking about doppelgangers on the show. We had people calling in about doppelgangers as well. And myself and Scott, we were talking about them before the show, and we just went looking to see about people that have met their doppelganger. It's quite cool. It's quite uncanny. The ones that we looked at, Scott, weren't they? We only looked at a couple, to be honest with you. But the whole doppelganger thing. Before we even go there, thoughts on it, Scotty? Is it? Let me ask you. 7.5 billion people in the world today. There's only so many faces you're going to come up with. Could it be that, or do you think there's more to the whole doppelganger thing going on?
I think there's actually more going on. I mean, first of all, 7.5 billion people, you're going to have the chance of somebody looking almost identical to you happen. It's just the probability is there. But then you've got to like take into account some of these stories of like people that are doppelgangers that have lived extremely very similar lives as well. Like there are all kinds of like weird synchronicities and stuff regarding like birthdays and stuff like that. And there's like I think there's a really good example of it with some Italian king or something. I'm gonna have to like I tried to look for some stuff on it before the show, but I'm gonna have to dig a little deeper to like get the whole story of it because.
Sorry, dude, because we're gonna scroll down some of these, but something about your story rings a bell, and I don't know if you've spoken about it before. Maybe that's how it's familiar, but something does ring a bell.
We covered it one time on Freaky Friday.
That's why it sounds familiar then, man.
And we were talking about doppelgangers, so yeah.
Well, we're going to take a look at these ones here. Scott's going to go and try and find that. But some of these folks, like I say, it's uncanny. So this one here was quite recently. We've got that there. So we'll scroll down. We'll keep this scrolling. These two, I mean, look at that. That is... What can you say about that? You would never think that those two are random strangers, right?
You would at least think that they were brothers
at the
or something.
very least, Scott. The very least. Now, this one here, this is a good one as well. Look at that. That's pretty dang close, you know. For meeting somebody in the street, that must have been weird walking towards that person. The other one, it would have been like looking at yourself in the street. So next one down, we've not looked at these ones yet, Scotty. Oh, we did. We looked at this one, and this one's weird. Real weird. Look at that bad boy. The eyes. The eye, the mouth, the teeth. Pretty good. Scrolling on down there. Whoa. That just looks like somebody's photoshopped and like stuck them in on the other side, kind of thing. Same glasses, that same soy smile. Bet they both identify as he, him, you know? Hey, look at these old boys here, man. Absolutely. When retired priest Neil Richardson moved to Essex, he found people kept coming up to him and say, "Hello, John." Because his double already lived there. Out of all the places and all the towns, you know, all the bars in all the world. You end up moving to the place where your doppelganger is. That's the kind of weirdness that we're talking about.
I'm not John, but
look at
that's
that,
crazy.
dude. My own doppelganger that I ran into at a music festival. That's pretty good. Not bad. Not bad, I'll give you that one.
Not too bad. I mean, but
pretty good.
You're gonna find your average hippie at a music festival that looks pretty similar.
That's pretty, yeah. Those two, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, somebody's, well, I think they might share a da. I think the da's been running about that town. I'm only joking. Not accusing anyone of adultery. Whoa, no way, look at that. They've got the same beards, dude.
The same mustache and everything.
Now,
that's
come
great.
on, dude. That's like... The Matrix made a mistake there. The simulation boo-booed. That's like... Oh, no, we got the first one wrong. We'll just fire another one out. What's that all about, man?
what are the odds of running into somebody with exactly like the same kind of facial hair,
It's
style,
it's just
everything?
after this photo was taken, this one here turned round and said, "You do know I'm not from this timeline, don't you?" As he replaced them. Yeah. There's
He's
only
like-
one of those left now.
He turns around, he looks at him, and he's like, "I'm from Apex TV. I have something to tell you."
Yeah, that's it. I bumped into my doppelganger at Subic Bay. My dad, cousins, and brother accidentally mistook her for me. So my auntie asked if we could take a photo together. That's quite creepy. Yep, same smile and that going on. Holy cow! That's not right. You see? Something going on here, Scott. I don't know what it is, man, but there's something that's just two really, really, really bored looking dudes, isn't they? Like, wow, I can't believe I found somebody. Not only does he look like me, but he looks as equally bored. Oh my goodness. Both of them look like they've lost the will to live. And now they've realised that somebody else shares their bad luck. Ah. Yep, double the trouble. Oh my goodness. Holy cow. That's uncanny. Damn, dude. Yeah, so as you can see, folks, pretty damn, whoa. Holy shimoly. Now, one of them looks soy, and the other one looks like he's figured out the other one's soy. This one looks soy, doesn't he? He's figured it out. He's going, I'm going to do 2 years for what I'm about to do in a moment. Wallop. Oh, wow, man. Holy cow. You would, wouldn't you? If you met that guy, if you're on holiday and you met your doppelganger, you'd be like, you up for a laugh? You ought to go and try and see if you can, like, pass yourself off to Anne. See if you can take a shoe for your trouble. And I'll try the same. I tell you, man, Anne would sniff it out right away. Right away, Scotty. She would know. I think. Yep, they're pretty cool. Whoa. Dear Lord. No, that looks photoshopped. But it's probably not. His head is far too big for his body. Isn't it?
I know, it's a little... The proportions are a little odd right there.
Unfortunate. You got a 6 foot tall man's head. And they stuck it on a 4 foot man's body. And you've realised your doppelganger's the right size. Yep.
It's not so much of a doppelganger if you can tell the difference, right?
Exactly, Scotty. Oh, holy cow. Damn, dude. I'm the shorter one. Met my Canadian doppelganger. Does he think he's got one in every country? He's a bit greedy, isn't he? I've met my Canadian one, you know. Need to go get the British one next. And here we go. Wow. Holy shimoly. Are they about to find out that they were grown in a lab at DARPA? Your whole story, your whole childhood is just implanted memories. You both fell out of a test tube at DARPA about 5 minutes ago. This time next year, you'll be fighting the blue chickens and everything will be fine. So I was walking around a while back and I met my doppelganger. Yay! Pretty cool. Only because one person growing a beard, as stupid as that, is pretty magnificent. But 2 people doing it? That's just bizarre. Look how much they've got, like a little bit of Scottish in this. They've definitely got a bit of Scottish in them. Look at that ginger beard try to fight its way through. Ginger, it's like if ginger was a virus, it would be the daddy of all viruses, wouldn't it? The DNA in ginger is strong. You only have to pass a ginger person when you're pregnant, and there's a good chance that baby's going to turn out ginger, dude. It's like a dominant alien gene.
My brother, you know, when he lets his beard grow out, he gets a bit of red ginger in it. Whoa.
That's just creepy. That is really creepy. Ah, you see this one shifting back into his own timeline there. Look, the wormhole's just about to grab him. Apex TV, this is more time travel proof than you've ever had. And they're getting steadily worse now, Scott, I must admit. Now, did you find your good one? Although those two must be the look on his face as if to say, what the Yep, exactly.
Nah, I'll have to look up later.
That look on your face. What's happened here? Do you think he realised he was like looking like this dude and he got 5 minutes with this dude's girlfriend or something? Because he looks like the cat that stole the cream, doesn't he? He looks like he's in this one here. He looks not so happy. Whoa. Yep, so they're pretty kind of lifelike. And what else have I got kicking about in the grab bag, Scotty boy? Let's see. Oh, I know what we've got. My mum gave me something. We've got the bunyip from Australia, right? But now we've got a list of beasties and creatures from Scotland. So we'll go over this and then we'll start to get wrapped up, folks. But this is a list of creatures in Scottish and Gaelic folklore. So then,
Excellent.
yes. Oh my word, I'm not going to be able to say half of these. Scottish folklore, this is a list of them. So there are many supernatural creatures to be found in Scottish Gaelic folklore. And Scotland is a rich culture going back over 2,000 years. Probably a lot longer when you kind of factor in the Pictish sites and some of the sites that I don't really want to put ages on. It's hard to put an age on some of these places, you know. Scottish mythology has emerged throughout our history, and stories were then passed on by word of mouth, sometimes being elaborated upon by successive generations. So we've got something called the Sith. That looks like the Boban. The Boban Sith. I probably pronounced that horribly wrong, but a very dangerous female vampire who haunted the Highlands. That's my neck of the woods. How come no vampire, no Lilith came to see me, Scott? What's going on there? Oh, heck, dude. See, ginger hair, see? Told you. So right, I need to know how you say that. Terrible. Copy that. Get in there. Pronounce it. Come on. Will it not play it? Please, come on. I forget it then. A female vampire, Scottish Highlands, though they also share certain characteristics in common with the syncubus or the succubus and the fairy. They appear as beautiful women who seduce their victims before attacking them and draining their Yes, so according to the Scottish folklorist Donald Alexander Mackenzie, what a great Scottish name that is, the Boban, the Baoban Sith usually appears as a beautiful young woman wearing a green dress, the Green Lady, Scott, that conceals her deer hooves.
Oh, she's a hooved, one of these hooved creatures.
Now remember, dude, remember the creepiest story ever from Up and Up? Yeah, with the hooved dude that ran out the hall.
Saying, is this the female version of that?
If it's a shapeshifter, could it be one and the same, Scott?
Good question.
Because that dude was like that most handsome dude in the dance. He was like, and trust me, look at me. Look. I mean, I've got radio face. I was quite a handsome guy for the Highlands. There's people that are even uglier than me. So it doesn't take much to be the good-looking guy in Fort Augustus. I get that. But this dude was like head and shoulders and hoofs beyond anything else in the dance that night. So like other vampires, she's got a tendency to go for the red stuff. And will vanish with the rising sun. She might drain you for your blood, but she's every man's dream woman. It's gone by the time you get up. Oh, she may also take the form of a hooded crow or a raven. You're never going to believe this. It sounds like totally made up shtick. But do you know who I sometimes sit watching out in my back garden. I observe closely, Scott. A big, dirty, filthy, black, hooded crow. Yeah.
Hmm.
And there's female voices in my toilet. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
You better watch out, Kev. It looks like the
Lilith is about.
the Boban Sith. Maybe
She's after
floating around.
she's after my Bo Abbey. That's what she's after. Exactly.
She's after your bunyip, man. That's what it is.
The bunyip's in danger, dude. So there are numerous stories about the Boban Sith, with a general theme of hunters being attacked in the wilderness at night. In one tale recorded by Mackenzie, there were 4 men who went hunting and took shelter for the night in a lonely shieling or hut. Now, one of the men supplied vocal music while the others began dancing. The men expressed a desire for partners to dance with. Oh, I remember this party well. I hope they don't tell the full story, though. And soon after that, 4 women entered the hut. Now, 3 of them that night. You see, in the Highlands, Scott, you're really lucky to get 4 women in like a 10-mile radius. When 4 of them bimble into a hut in the middle of nowhere, that should be a red flag right away, okay?
Yeah, that should have set off the alarms that something was awry.
Yeah. But of course, being Scottish men, they probably looked at each other, registered the fact there's a problem here, smiled, and thought, you only live once. So then,
Yep.
yeah, you only live until the succubus gets you. So 3 of them danced while the 4th sat beside the vocalist. He then noticed drops of blood falling from his companions and fled from the hut, taking refuge among the horses. His vampiric partner chased him, but was unable to catch him, and when daylight came, she disappeared. The man went back inside and found all 3 of his friends gone and drained of all their red stuff. So the folklorist Catherine Briggs suggested that the Baoban, and the Baoban Sith, I know it's not pronounced that way. People that know Gaelic are going to be triggered hugely. But that's okay. Was unable to catch the 4th among the horses because of the iron with which the horses were shod. Iron being a traditional fairy vulnerability. So fairies are scared of iron, Scott.
Ah, okay.
So it's not a silver bullet or a silver cross you need in the Highlands. You need an iron.
Iron.
Yeah.
Interesting.
There you go.
I always find it another thing I always find fascinating about some of these, kind of like the vampire myths and other things like that is that, like, these creatures, these entities, have weaknesses that involve certain elements, right?
Yep.
And it's like, you see that kind of archetype play out in like superhero movies and superhero, like comic books and stuff. Like Superman is vulnerable to kryptonite, and there's always like this certain weakness that maybe one of the supervillains has, and it's always some kind of a strange element or something like that. But you see that play out just all throughout. That there is a way to take these things down, that they have some kind of a weakness, and it involves an element of some kind, whether it be silver or...
Funny you say that, right? Been watching a really good show over on Netflix called Warrior Nun. It is what it says on the tin. And people might be thinking, oh, look at Kev getting all woke, watching programs with women as the main cast. I've got no problem with that. I only have a problem when they take Ghostbusters and try and replace male characters with women. Then that's just silly. But this show, Scotty, what they do is to hunt the demons down and to fight with them. They've got a metal called divinium. And it's like what you're talking about here. This divinium's the thing, man. Oh, it doesn't matter what kind of demon they're fighting. Oh, they're away back to hell where they came from, So, like you say, there's always this kind of thing. They've always got their kryptonite, you know?
And even like in so if we want to go biblical with this, we
Oh, are we
can.
going to biblical? Yes, indeed, man.
I'm gonna have to harness my inner Joda for a minute. And so you go to like the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, right? And you had Lot and his family that was saved from the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah. And you had the angels that were sent to Sodom and Gomorrah, right, to
Look
save
at
Lot.
you, sir. Come on, Scotty.
Hey, I know a
Oh,
little
I'm
bit.
I'm not used to this stuff, dude. I'm following you here, and I'm having to sort my really bushy hair because it's starting to go everywhere now.
It's the it's the goatee, it's the facial hair coming, and it's making me feel a little more. Yeah, I'm feeling that.
Thinking cap time, Scott. We're getting deep. We're getting into the divinium and stuff now. We're into the Bible. Getting the hat on.
Well, so you had the angels that were sent to Sodom and Gomorrah, and if I'm correct, they had to fight while they were there in order to save Lot's family. Like I don't know the story word for word, and I'm probably like I'm just kind of but you know, it said in the Bible that the swords that the angels carried were forged from a metal that is not of this earth. So that makes you like wonder.
So it could be divinium then.
It really could be like, yeah, but I mean, it says in there that the metal that was used to, you know, for the weapons of angels is not a metal that can be found on Earth. It's not an element. That's a earthly element. So I
That's
mean,
what they're looking for at CERN. Blah, blah, blah.
but if you want to go like Ancient Alien or all of that, I mean, could we have been talking about some kind of exotic metal from another planet?
ZX in the chat room is shouting Orchium. Orchium, is that what it is?
Yeah, look that up. That might be what it's called.
Could be Orchium.
That's gonna be more, or Orcium, I think. I don't know.
Oh, I'll put Orchium. Orchium. No.
Yeah, I don't know what it's like.
ZX is probably sitting at home laughing at himself like right now,
Yeah,
going,
he's like,
those boys with their Orchium. Know what I mean? Yeah.
But anyways, yeah. So I mean, I just thought that was fascinating in itself. That, you know, it says in the Bible that the weapons that angels carried, you know, were they're not. The metal is an, you know, element that is not found on Earth, which is pretty interesting.
That's what I'm going to need for that thing I've got in the toilet by the sound
you know,
of it.
maybe it's that kryptonite. It's that kryptonite that takes out those entities from the, you know, from the other realm. You know, there's nothing of an earthly force or an earthly composition that they're vulnerable against, so they have to be taken out with some kind of an exotic metal or something that it's essentially like their kryptonite, you know.
The Black Donald. Oh, hang on, we've got. How the heck are you meant to pronounce that? Come on, man. What are you doing to me, you Gaelic madness? There's not a bit where you can just, like, play what it sounds like.
I don't even think the algorithm wants to deal with that.
It doesn't even want to play with it, man. So it's the Beist Hewlich. Hewlich, that sounds about right. Yeah, is a nocturnal shapeshifter described by John Gregson Campbell in Witchcraft, and the second sight in the Highlands and Islands of Scotland. What a book that sounds, man. Oh, boy.
Dude, that's a little bit of light reading to get into.
Sometimes it bore the form of a man. Sometimes a man with only one leg. Other times it appeared like a greyhound or beast prowling about. And sometimes it was heard uttering frightful shrieks and outcries which made the workmen leave their bothies in horror. Now, a bothy's like a little cottage, a little kind of hut. It was only during the night that it was seen or heard. That is terrifying. Yeah. The Black Donald. So, in Scottish folklore, the Black Donald is the devil. Now, I'm sure that pretty soon we'll just have to call this Donald. Because, you know, that's not very woke. You know the Highlands is going to be the last place on Earth that ever gets woke. You know that, right?
Look, if the Don decided to do blackface, he would be seen as the devil. So is that what we're talking about here?
Could be. So it says then that it is the devil. And it is said that the devil is good at all jobs except for one, tailoring. Because when the devil is among the tailors, they close up shop, so he's never learned to baste. He can take many disguises, including an old man in a black suit. Oh, he's a man in black. But whatever disguise he takes, he always giving himself away because of his cloven feet. Oh, no. Oh, those cloven feet, man. They give him away every time, don't they?
Cloven feet.
Yeah, I'm quite unsettled by that, the whole cloven feet thing. Because that's like... No, it's not good juju, man.
What if Slender Man is the Black Donald? Because he wears a suit, right?
Oh, man. Yeah, I wonder if... Nobody's ever looked at his feet. You've got so many more problems when you're dealing with a Slender Man. First thought isn't, what kind of shoes has he got on? That's what you think, right? You'd be really disappointed if somebody was actually walking along filming. The Slender Man appeared in the camera shot, and the first thing they did, Scott, was look at his feet. You'd be like, what are you doing? It's a fake. It's a fake. Get the camera up. It's a fake. So it says here that the blue men of the Minch. Now, the Minch is a piece of water. So water spirits that haunted the strait called the Minch between Shiant Island and Long Island in the Highlands. That's not Long Island, New York or anything. They lived in clans in underwater caves and were blamed for shipwrecks. Wow, dude.
Oh, so are we talking about like
merman? Merman.
Or merman? Or
no, not that one.
Excuse me, it's man.
Nah.
Merman.
Or like underwater trolls, or mischievous little creatures, kind of like up above, but they're down in the water,
No, Scott. It's a squadron of Russian squid, and they've taken on the form of little Scottish men. Eh?
Oh, so they evolved and they went from
Anna's lost the will to live. She's like, oh my God.
They evolved from Scuba Dave to Scottish Dave.
Scottish Dave. I'm the squid. There you go, man.
There you go.
Yeah. So we've got the Bodich. It's the Bodich. That's definitely how you say that one. The Bodich. A dark grey humanoid figure who was thought to foretell the death of members in a clan. Ian, because that's what I really need. An energy drink right about now. Not that I'm hyper as it is already, right? Then we've got the Bodakin. the little old man of the barn. Far easier. A spirit who haunted barns in Scotland. In common with the brownie, he would occupy his time doing farming chores. So what the hell's a
Dude, he's a
brown?
gnome.
Then we've got
He's
a
a gnome.
brownie. Yeah, we've got the generic term for fairies in England and Scotland. They were generally benevolent, but could turn bad if they were neglected. They were small in appearance and wore brown clothing.
Oh, so they are. That's it's the gnomes that we were talking about with Jason, right? We went down that whole rabbit hole, and
Yep.
do you remember the lady that it was tormenting? She could see the hat running by her
Yep.
car window and all that stuff. It was like, whoa.
The boobry. Yep, I said that. Boobry. A gigantic blackbird, which is supposed to have lived in the lochs of Argyllshire. It has webbed feet and it fed on cattle. A bird that eats cows. My goodness. So a brolican. Oh, what a name, man. Just a name like that, already I'm petrified. You don't want to bump into anything called the brolican. All right, that's not a good... not a good night.
That's a very, very aggressive Scottish word right there. That just, it has the sound of, yeah, you don't want to mess with it. The brolican.
It's a shapeless thing. A creature of the night. What the hell is that? If it's a shapeless thing, how's it even a thing?
Yeah, like, is it just some kind of wispy thing? Can it manifest into whatever it wants? It has no form. It exists.
The brolican is the quantum cryptid.
It is.
It just becomes whatever the hell it wants to be.
Mm.
A name like brolican, it can. So there's another Sith. A supernatural cat from the Highland region. The creature was as big as a dog and completely black. Apart from one white spot on its breasticles. So perhaps the belief it's related to some of the mystery black cats that have been caught in the region. Oh, you mean
Wait,
like
you mean
yeah, you mean like that black cat?
Yeah, I think you got a Kate Sith running around.
We've got a Kate Sith in our hands, Scott.
You do. You totally do.
That's a cat up in the Highlands. Look at it. You see the pattern on it? Pretty cool, isn't it? Well, a big shout out to my wee brother if he's tuned in. He's just got a new cat. Yeah, he's got what's it called? A ragdoll. Ragdoll cat. I've not seen them, but
Kate Sith is from a video game too, and it's on the tip of my tongue, but I don't know. But it's a character in a video.
Look at this.
Any of you out there?
A Dooney. A shape-shifting Scottish fairy. A shape-shifting fairy, dude. You can take the form of a pony, or an old man, or an old woman. The old hag. Dang. Dunters. Similar to the red cap, these creatures haunted the old fortresses of the borders, and they're thought to be the folk memory of Foundation sacrifices.
It's Final Fantasy VII, according to the chat. It's Kate Sith is in Final Fantasy VII.
And a fakin. So we've got a Highland spirit with one leg. Hang on. Where did the one leg come in? We had something with one leg earlier on, did we not?
I don't think so.
Yeah, we did. We did. We did. Hang on now. Where was it? One leg. Hang on. There it is. Well, there's another one anyway. A monster with one leg and one arm. The fakin, there it is. That, no, that's one we were on there, wasn't it? There's a couple of one-legged things, man. Yeah. That's, was it in one of these ones, the one leg thing going on? What wasn't that one? Hang on. Yeah, there is. There look, sometimes it bore the form of a man, sometimes of a man with one leg. It was that the one we went and checked out. That's crazy, dude. I might have to do a full
So-
stream on these one day. I'm not going to get into too many of them now, but this is cool,
Would
isn't
you
it?
say that's fucking crazy?
Absolutely fucking crazy. Absolutely. In fact, I want a picture of one of these. What does that even look like? Oh my word. Look at the state of that thing. Holy cow, dude.
Oh, what the hell?
Australia. Come on, come on. I take your bunyip. I'll put it up against the fucking any day of the week. That thing is eating the bunyip. Look at that thing. Look at that big gingerness to it. You can tell it's Scottish as well, look. Whoa, man, that is horrifying. Whoa, any of these not good. Oh, look at that bad boy. He's got a bit of a bullman thing going on there. A book filled with different mythological creatures from around the world. People actually buy. Whoa, dude. That's not good. You don't want that thing chasing you, right? You need Tesla's machine to get rid of the chain link, get the right vibration. That's one thing less to worry about, right? Blow up his chain. It's probably
You don't-
tethering him to hell.
You don't want to come across the fakin. I know
No.
that much. Mm-mm.
A gentle anus. So what does the gentle anus do? So, a spirit said to cause gales in the Firth of Cromarty. That's right where my mum is. So a gentle anus is suffering from wind. Who knew, Scott? Who knew, eh? Who knew? The Grogan. The Grogan, a Highland brownie who helped around the farms. They're quite helpful. Remember, we've talked about this before, though?
Yeah.
Yeah. You'd leave, like, wasn't it Jason said some people still leave picnics and things out at the entrance to the... Yeah.
They leave a little like bread and stuff like that out there for them to...
The Marul. A Shetland sea monster with many eyes. Oh my god. The Noggle. Get your Noggles out. A Shetland version of the water horse. Often associated with water mills.
So it's a kind of a version of the Kelpie, huh?
Yeah. There is the Selkies as well. Sea spirits who could take human form on land. The Shawnee, a sea spirit from the island of Lewis. A Tangi, a shapeshifter. We've got a lot of shapeshifters up here, eh? The Urisk, a spirit very similar to Faun, in that they are half human and half goat. They are said to haunt pools and waterfalls. Half goat. Really? Really? That doesn't sound good at all. There he is there. Oh, me no like that. There's something really creepy about that bad boy. We don't like him, man.
I'm not...
You don't go messing with the Urisk, especially if the Urisk comes looking like that. That's the devil. Look, he's playing an instrument. Remember, the big bad man, he was kicked out the choir for farting. Remember, he got kicked out. That's him. That's what he looks like. That there, ladies and gentlemen, is never to be approached lightly. Never to be approached. Not with at least divinium arrows and a bow, I suppose, as well. But yeah, Scott, this has been a really kind of exploratory stream.
Yes, we
From Nikola Tesla to shape-shifting beasties in Scotland and something uglier than a bunyip.
we set sail and we just went wherever the winds pushed us, Kev. That's what.
I like these kind of streams, dude. You just never know where you're gonna end up. And I had quite good fun there, I must admit.
It was good fun. I think the PPP also helps too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This stream has been assisted by our endocannabinoid system being very, very topped up and actively employed. Hey, if you've got it, you might as well use it, right? But I'm going to be back with a more serious head on tomorrow, Scott. I've got to get Kev back in the building. He's on with Bill Bean tomorrow night. They're going to be talking to Travis Short. And that is going to be all about the Mothman. There's going to be no joking. There'll be no ma'am tomorrow. Because this here, it's one of, I don't want to say my favourite kind of paranormal, supernatural stories. But it's one of the ones that I'm most interested in. I don't want to say favourite, Scott, because it makes light of like the fact people died when the bridge fell and, you know. I think
the word you're looking for is it's one of the most intriguing.
Yeah, and I think there's also, for me, like, when it comes to Bigfoot and Mothman, I really do think there's something tangible there. I think that's something that definitely is out there in many shapes and forms.
I think so.
Yeah,
I think so too. Yeah. And then I think when you start seeing a lot of the stories from around the world that seem to match up with Mothman, right?
Old man. Yep.
Yeah, Jason brought Owlman to the table, and there was like a shocking number of similarities between the two. You know, no neck, red eyes, the winged humanoid, standing about 7-8 feet tall, something like that. I mean, I think this thing exists under many different names globally, so yeah, I'm with you. I think there's something to it.
Okay, now definitely, before we go anywhere, ZX corrected the metal. Thank you very much, ZX. Here we go. Here, Scott, this is the stuff that the element you were looking for when you were talking about the
okay.
Here it is here.
This is the
Orichalcum.
Orichalcum,
Orichalcum, yeah. Mentioned in several ancient writings, including the story of Atlantis, in the Critias of Plato, and within the dialogue, Critias claims that Orichalcum had been considered second only to gold in value, and had been found and mined in many parts of Atlantis in ancient times. But that, by Critias' own time, Orichalcum was known only by name. Scott, do you know, for that one little paragraph there, right? It mentions Atlantis, okay?
Yeah.
And Eye of Africa. And this here, I've heard people say that this is a candidate for Atlantis. Now, this is on Africa, right? The only reason I bring it up, Scotty, is because if there's one thing that really Africa is pretty infamous for, it's the metals, it's the diamonds, it's the stuff. If Atlantis and they were Atlanteans mining something, I'm just saying that lines up with maybe Africa then.
Let me throw this at you, Kev. Ready for a little bit of
some deep blue.
What if those ancient mining tunnels that they found in Africa that they bore into were ancient orichalcum mines?
Dude, why not? Because remember, they were surprised that there was like things like platinum had been left.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Well, you'd leave platinum if you were after something else, and like you say, why not?
What if we're talking about some kind of a rare metal that was
But they wouldn't even have been looking for it. They wouldn't even been looking for it, Scott, Yeah,
that it was completely depleted from the planet millions of years ago or however long, and we just haven't had access. It's either so rare that we're never going to really find it, or it's completely gone. And what are the properties of this metal? That's the question.
All right, so when we come back on another stream, then the next time we stream, we need to explore the mines further. We'll get some Michael Tellinger stuff up. Because for me, when it comes to the mines and the stone circles in Africa, you can't talk about that stuff without giving Tellinger a lot of credit. Because for me, I'm not saying there isn't other people who's talked about this or put this together in the past, but Michael Tellinger, how I've never had him on the shows beyond me. And I came that close because just before, and he was a really good friend on and off air, James Swagger. Just before he all went missing and that, Scott, he was on an expedition out in, I want to say Egypt, but I think they went to Göbekli Tepe and a couple of places, but he was with Tellinger. And he was like sending me pictures of him and Tellinger, like taking selfies with glasses of wine, saying, "Wish you were here. Do you want Michael on the show?" Do I want Michael on the show? Yeah, why not? Look, obviously I do, but then James just... And nobody ever talks about him. No, I don't hear any of that people that are on the... I call it the megalithic circuit. You get the people that talk, like Hugh Newman and Maria Wheatley, and again, that's... I'm just bringing those names up because they were in the same circles as James Swagger, you know?
Yeah. Is any of his research and stuff like that still available? I mean, did he have a website that's still is it still up, or did anybody archive any of his work or anything like that? But
There's a lot of people out there are probably thinking, who the hell's James Swagger? This is James Swagger here. There he is, man. 3 years ago. That's about right, dude.
Yeah.
Don't tell me that's the only thing. No, thank goodness.
Yeah, amazing research that Swagger was doing.
Yeah. Off the charts,
really
good, dude.
Remember the spheres, the rock spheres that had
the
like
platonic shapes.
Platonic solids carved in it and all that stuff.
Dude, I've got pictures of them, man. They were in the Glasgow Museum here. When myself and Anne went.
We were using them for reference images when Swagger was talking about them. You know, it was crazy stuff, man.
Wow,
crazy stuff.
All the shows that me and him done are gone. How the hell is that? Me and Jimmy Swagger done some amount of shows, by the way. 6 years ago. You know, Scott, that's the closest guy I've met to, like, savant level genius.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, because he knew all the quantum stuff. He had a way of reading a book. Yeah, he had a way of reading a book where you looked at a page and done a figure of 8, and he could read a book in like a couple hours. When he was in school, they had to like put him forward in school.
So he's like a speed reader and all of that stuff.
And photographic with it.
Mm.
Crazy levels of weirdness. Dude, it would be weird. He would just call it up, you know? James Swagger, please, if anyone out there knows of James being okay or anything, let us know, will you? It's that's one thing that troubles me the most. People come and go. Yeah, you know that, Scott, don't they? Like,
don't even know what happened to him, man. It's rough, like not knowing. Like,
I know he was like a ladies' man, and he had an Irish accent, and he looked a bit like George Washington. Remember, because I done the Photoshop of him.
You had the Photoshop of him, and it
get
looked.
That up. And then I know that he had the girl he was with was bad news, dude, bad news. But that was really the only bad thing that was going on at the time. I don't know. Apart from that,
yeah, I don't know, man.
I need to show that. That's one of my better Photoshops. Probably one of my best ones, actually. Where are you, Swagger? There's Popeye, Fluffy Joe, Popeye, Jojo, Creepy Joe. Far too many of Joe. Ancient Aliens Joe. Joe Acosta. Yeah.
Joe Muculus.
Yeah. Damn, dude. Oh, there's the one you were wanting from earlier on. Yeah.
There's handsome Kev.
Yeah. Very handsome looking as well. There it is. James. You ready, folks? This is probably the best Photoshop I've ever done, right? Look at that. Look at that bad boy, man. The founding father of the megalithic odyssey. Damn, dude.
That was a good one.
That was a good one, man. But folks, listen, as you can tell, me and Scott now are just like, this is what we would be doing if we weren't on the stream, just talking mints and cruising about. But thanks a lot for spending time with us here today. I've had an absolute blast. Really had some good fun. Remember, I'll be back tomorrow. Maybe I'll do an early stream, I don't know, see how we're feeling. But I've got Bill Bean, Warrior Mode. I'll be co-hosting for Bill from midnight in the UK tomorrow, and that's 7 p.m. on the East Coast, 4 p.m. on the West Coast. Scotty will be back with me on Thursday for our rounding out the KBS week when we're algorithm free, footloose, and going for it.
Our weekly therapeutic unload session.
It is. It's like it is. It helps, doesn't it?
It does. It really does.
Yeah. I know when I see something that triggers me during the week, it's okay. I can, hash it out with Scott come Thursday. The world will be fine. Yes, indeed.
Yep.
So until next time, folks, keep it real. Keep your mind open. Keep looking for the woo, but not to the point where your brain turns to black goo. And Scott, the graphics, are we liking this very much so?
Yes. Looking quite spicy.
Yeah. Now, before we go, folks, set your diaries. Are you ready for this? I got messaged by our good friend Luna. So, 2 weeks today. Yep, 2 weeks. Saturday the 25th. We will be on with our friends Luna, Donnie, and Jess. So I hope you can join us all for that. And yes, look at these graphics. Oh, man. It's alright, folks. I'll give you a little bit more music. That was a bit kind of quick. Alright.